I don't want to have anyone see that I'm here.
If you want to sit, I can bring Barbara back to you. Yeah, or and if I could just ask you.
Thank you. Am I what?
You don't want to be seen here?
No, I don't, because I don't want, because she said private, so I don't want it. If I sit down here, no one will see that I'm here.
Oh. I don't think anybody Suzanne Moses just called.
You did?
Suzanne Moses, she wanted to know how she gets on the website.
You just called?
Suzanne Moses.
Oh.
So fortunately, I had 3 people there. I just listened to music. And I was right, whatever I said was right.
Then I should see if her would you get one.
I should have my kid also.
My mother said, you and Jane go to Ritzy's, so weird.
Oh, God.
You want to sit up here?
What?
You want to sit up here?
Oh, I said that there's a lot of, I don't care if anybody's thinking. Nobody on
Your hat, Jen.
Huh?
You should have had your hat on, it looks so nice.
Oh, I was too hot.
Oh, okay. You want to go up front?
Oh, you did? I mean, top names.
That's all we can do? No, try and do it by myself.
Lynn. Did you get a reaction?
No. A little sore. Yeah. About half a day. No, how about you?
No, I was very, very cold. But after that, I was,
Other
you
people
know.
had a reaction. Somebody fainted. Yeah, I heard you digging, you do lose your blinking. But no, I had a little soreness, that's about all. What?
He doesn't want anybody to see that we were here. So, let's get more going.
What?
And so we had a couple of things.
Let's sit in the back row, just to be sure. There's the cameras right there. Top.
Oh, I think that.
What?
his deceased wife's
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our services, if we can please turn off all cell phones or electronic devices, or please place them on silent. When speakers come up, be sure to project. Although there's a microphone here, we are still talking through masks, so to make sure everyone can hear, and people who are watching on the live streamers come up, please make sure to project and talk directly into the microphone. Talking through masks, so to make sure everyone can hear. Just a few moments ago, with the words from Janai, Dayan, Mohammed, we cut the black ribbon that Barbara and Carol are aware of to meet with families. And this is an outward sign of mourning, as I explained to them, and many people have seen this as well. But there are two very important aspects to remember. And this is an outward sign that we're happening while we cut this ribbon. First, you were standing. But there are two, taught by our tradition, that we do our best to stand in the face of physical times and stand in the face of death. First, and the second thing to be aware of is to ensure you said you were standing and surrounded by family and friends. Because that's what we need to help us get through this very difficult time. Be aware of. To put your shoulders down, put your head on your shoulder, and for them to be there, and you to be there. That's what we need. As we're all trying to comfort each other. And the loss of your shoulders down, put your head on your shoulder. There's a poem that talks about life as a journey. And the poem reads, birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going and growing from stage to stage. And the poem reads, birth from childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from ignorance to awareness, and from innocence to knowledge, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we train to health, and then perhaps to wisdom, from offense to forgiveness, from weakness to strength, from loneliness to love, and often joy to gratitude, from health to sickness, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we realize that victory is not at some high point along the way, but in just having from defeat to defeat a sacred pilgrimage. Until looking backward or ahead, we realize that birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage, from birth to death to life, birth is everlasting and death a destination. But life is a journey. Today is a difficult day for all friends and families and the Goodfriend family. Saying goodbye to a beloved husband, father, grandfather, brother is sad. But Barbara, as you pointed out for me yesterday, it is very sad. The whole family will miss him, Father. But it is not tragic, because we can look back on 93. But Barbara, as you pointed out for me yesterday, it is very sad. Today, we'll be hearing about those memories. But it is not tragic. The stories. There's a poem that really speaks about good memories in the minds of anyone who is behind. And the poem reads, I like the memory of living, to be a happy one. I like to leave an afterglow of smile when life is done. I like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways, of happy times and laughter. I like to leave an afterglow bright and sunny days. I like the tears of those who grieve to drive before the sun waves, of happy memories that I leave when my life is done. I like the old time carols to share her memories, of happy memories that I leave when my life is done. I like the old time carols to share her memories, of happy memories that I leave when my life is done. I like the old time carols to share her memories.
I have an A.F. Hutton folder. I have all my papers in. I have an A.F. Hutton folder. I have all my papers in. Good morning to all of us right here. I have an A.F. Hutton folder, all few of us. We know this room would be packed if it was not for all of us. Good morning, Chef. Good morning, aunts and uncles and cousins and good friends. I'm nervous and I'll try to speak loudly and slowly. And uncles and cousins and good friends. I'm still rewriting this in my head as I wonder. I'm nervous how to honor a man who was larger than life. That filled the room with his charisma. Was loved and rewriting this in my head and respected by service. How to honor a man. Let's celebrate the life of Elliott Goodfriend with his charisma. My name is Carol, and I am Elliott's daughter. Unlike most dads, Elliott did not come into my life in the usual way. He and my mom, Barbara, fell in love, and when they got married in 1969, this 4.5-year-old was included. Elliott always teased us that we were a package deal. And when they got married, Elliott was a great dad to me. This 4.5-year-old, he was always worried about my safety, and Elliott always teased us. Even when the apartment where we lived was right next door to the synagogue, that's out where I went to Hebrew school. He would watch me walk home at dusk or in the dark to make sure I arrived home safe. It was literally next door, that's out where I went to Hebrew school. In high school, he wanted to keep me safe as well. And true to his naughty side, he gave me solid advice. When making out in the backseat of a car, always keep the legs inside the window. And true to his naughty side, Dad was always the one to do the late-night pickup from parties and events. How lucky and blessed am I that throughout my life, I have felt safe and secure because of him. To do the late-night pickup from parties and events. He was such a great guy and always loved and cared for me, as if I was of his own DNA. He was always respectful of Lloyd, my birth father, but also made sure that I was able to do the things in life that I wanted to do. When it was time for college, my number one choice exceeded the original savings plan. Elliott jumped in and paid the difference and made it possible for me to attend college and as well have the wedding of my dreams. Exceeded the original savings plan. It took me a very long time to call Elliott Dad because I already had a birth father in my life. But clearly, Elliott earned and deserved the title. I know that he was very touched when I finally stopped calling him Elliott and clearly him Dad. Elliott earned and deserved. For those that don't know, here's a brief biographical sketch of his early years. Elliott J. Goodfriend, son of Harry and Harriet Goodfriend. Yes, really. He was born in 1927 in the family home on Beechwood Avenue in Philadelphia. He later moved to Lawton Avenue. Elliott had a sister, Jane, who was 7 years older, and he has a baby sister, Rona. He later moved to Lawton, and was Ronnie, born in the house on Lawton Avenue, who was 7 years younger. Elliott was loved and adored by his sisters. I fondly remember that house on Lawton Avenue where, for many years, we would have Friday night dinner at Mom and Pop's with Aunt Ronnie and Uncle Sylvan, Aunt Jane and Uncle Al, and tons of cousins running around. We ate Julia's fried chicken and munched on M&M's with Aunt Ronnie and Uncle Sylvan, Aunt Jane and Uncle Al, and tons of cousins running around. We ate Julia's fried chicken. Those cousins, all of my generation, loved their Uncle Elliott very much. Mara and Sam Lauren and Brad, David, Abby and Tony, Ira and Randy Jessica, and of course the next generation think that their great uncle, Uncle Elliott, was really great. Adam and Katie, Michael and Kate, Ariel and Michael, Kevin, Julie and Debbie, Ben and Alana, and our new baby cousin Harper. Adam and Katie, well admire everyone knew that Michael Elliott would always make things fun and become nice for everyone. Throughout the years, Uncle Elliott was a great source of advice for many of his nieces and nephews. David Sosman commented recently to me the other day, Elliott was the kind of guy that men wanted to date and women wanted to be with. David Sosman commented recently to me the other day, Elliott was the kind of guy that men wanted to date and women wanted to be with. Relatives from the Blesnack side of our family will also miss you greatly. Stu and Marilyn, Sue and Alan, Joni, David and Debbie, Sammy, CJ, Jamie, Quinn, Jared, Max, and Sadie, and we have another future cousin, Debbie, had coming. CJ, Jamie. Looking beyond family, Jared, Max, Elliott served in the armed forces very briefly. He served just after the war. Aunt Ronnie told me that when it was time to ship out, Dad's group went overseas without him. Elliott had pneumonia and had to stay back in the hospital in Virginia. Perhaps this is where and when his love affair with doctors and the medical appointments first began. Elliott had pneumonia and had to stay back in Virginia. Perhaps this is where and when. After military service, Elliott attended the work school at the University of Pennsylvania in preparation for his career as a retail stock brokerage manager. After military, Elliott took a course where he scored the highest ever recorded score in the exam, according to his sister Monica. Elliott was a wizard with numbers, and this was the beginning of his great and storied career in the market. Somewhere in Dad's history, there was a period I'd like to think of as his Nathan Detroit Rat Pack days. He was the man about town in Center City, Philadelphia. Ron Rabbits described him as the coolest cat he ever met, as his own dad. He was known for going to the Matt, dining at Jimmy's Milan, womanizing, and getting into trouble with old pals like Matt. They were known for their shenanigans. I'd love to tell you stories from those old days, but of course they might violate decency laws in several states. They were known for their shenanigans. In 1958, Elliott became a father with the arrival of Jeff, born Jeffrey Charles Goodfriend, also known as my childhood tormentor. In 1958, if you knew Elliott, you knew how much he loved his son, Jeff. Jeff isn't with us today because of COVID-19 concerns. He's healthy, but continues to take care of him. Jeff, I miss you. Jeff isn't with us today because Jeff later. So, let me tell you a little bit about Dad, Cars, and I. We had a rocky history together. It's, did you know that I'm still alive despite 3 fender benders in the first year of my driving? We had a rocky history together. Actually, there was a 4th, but Mom took the blame for it. Sorry. Actually, there was a 4th. I got in a lot of trouble when I was unable to graduate from Cornell due to unpaid parking tickets. Eventually, Dad paid the tickets, but I never heard the end of it from him. The rest of my life, he even reminded me of those unpaid parking tickets after I crashed his car at summer tickets. But I never heard the destruction of destruction of Dad's cars was not limited to just me. When Sari was about 4 years old, we rented a shore house on Iroquois Avenue. Instead of grass, the house had rocks and pebbles for landscaping. Sari, a budding artist, about 4 years old, drew a picture on the side of Dad's car. Instead of grass, the house had rocks and pebbles. And she was so proud of her work that she wrote her name in large letters on the side of the car. Even the I had a heart over it. I was mortified. Dad was pretty upset, but overall he handled it very well. On the side of the car. And speaking of cars at the shore, Dad was known as the parking Nazi. He believed that the street area in front of your house was for your cars and for your cars only. He insisted on making sure that the parking spots in front of our house were reserved for our family and guests. At one point, we had orange cones to enforce the Goodfriend system code. And of course, the driveway had to be kept clear at all times so visitors would know they had a place to park. At one point, and if you were not parked correctly, you'd be given a. And of course, the driveway had to be kept clear at all times so we can't do it with justice, but you know what I mean. I'm not correctly. You'd be given a. You can't talk about Elliott without mentioning his love of thoroughbred horse racing. Every Saturday, except sometimes in the summer, for sure, he would go to the track. Talk about Elliott without mentioning his love of thoroughbred horse racing. He would meet up with his cronies, Jerry Harden, Nate, and Eddie, and they would hold court. These guys would sit at the same table, order the same food, with the same waitress, meet up every week for years. They would pour over the race insurance, handicapping horses. Dad would consider the horse's lineage, the track conditions, length of the track, the horse's age. And after all this analysis, he went to take a bet on a horse named Boss Barber, simply because of the name. And then complained and blamed Barbara if the horse lost. But if the horse won, sometimes there'd be a little fringe benefit with a small bonus for Mom, Jeff, and me. If the horse won as a dad today, for eternity, there is a reason to be a little fringe benefit with a small bonus. Dad had many wonderful friends through his lifetime. Elliott's charisma always attracted people to him, but it was his character that made them stay his friends. From him I learned what it means to be a loyal friend. Always attracted people to him, but it was his character that made them stay his friends. Aside from being great friends of Dad's, Stanley and his son Steve, Harold, and Len were and are like family. Aside from being great friends of Dad's, for those of you who don't know what the GOAT stands for, the GOAT means the greatest of all times. He was a GOAT. He was a legend. Those of you who don't know what the GOAT, he was known for his tough love. The GOAT means he was a one of a kind, and he was a teacher. These are some of the things that people have said about him professionally. His tough love. Elliott was a demanding manager with his own unique style and some non-traditional motivational methods to keep his brokers, to help his brokers to succeed. He challenged his brokers to be their best, and his office had to be #1 in the region or in the country, and it usually was. His brokers loved him. He challenged his brokers to be their best. Nadine, Lou, Penny, Doc, and so many others made up his professional family. There are so many brokers who cite Elliott as the manager and mentor who helped them achieve a better life for themselves and other families. Many of them fondly recall Elliott's famous Christmas in July holiday office party annually at the Monte Carlo living room. Many of them fondly recall, for those of you who are on the internet and know what an influencer is, today's hot word, influencer, Elliott Goodfriend was the original influencer. Do you remember the phrase, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen? With Dad, it was when Elliott Goodfriend talks. Goodfriend was the original influencer. Do you remember the phrase, when E.F. Hutton talks? From the day that Rachel was born, with Dad, Elliott's life was forever changed. Rachel was born. Do you remember the phrase, when E.F. Hutton talks? And the day that Rachel was born, he held her. He was smitten. Sarah was born a few years later, and if you knew Elliott, you are well aware of his 2 smart, beautiful, talented granddaughters. And if you worked in his office, you knew that you would be buying Girl Scout cookies for him. Using his own sales techniques, the message was, I'm helping my granddaughter sell Girl Scout cookies. How many boxes will you Girl Scout cookies for him? Although we lived 2 hours away, Dad always made sure we had quality time together as a family. We enjoyed trips to Aruba, Puerto Rico, and the mountains. He rented houses for many summers at the shore so that he could enjoy sharing an ice cream sandwich on the beach and sandy kisses with Rachel and Sarah. Dad loved supporting the girls with their athletic endeavors and was eager to see them earn varsity letters, sandy kisses, He was eager to see them earn varsity letters so that he could buy their varsity jackets for them. He would wait for them to get their jacket and proudly wear those jackets. There was so much love between Dad, also known as Grandy. He would wait for his Grandy girls to get their jacket and proudly wear those jackets. There was so much love between Dad, also known as Grandy. He would wait for his There is no greater love than the romance of Barbara and Elliott.
Tomorrow is March 1st, and it would have been their 52nd wedding anniversary. There is no greater love than the romance. Their marriage was filled with passion, laughter, joy, and again, so much love. Wedding anniversary. At times, their marriage was rocky. Their marriage was filled with passion. One could see laughter, joy, and again, the undeniable spark in their relationship. At times, their marriage. These two that so obviously loved each other with all their heart and soul from the very beginning until the moment he left their relationship. As a couple, they were very social and had many friends. Their connections were strong. So many of their friends have been like family to me. Growing up, I fondly remember them having company in the living room. I'd be in my bedroom curious about what was going on with the raucous laughter and howling emanating from the living room. I fondly remember them having company in the living room. Mom said Elliott had never missed a day without telling her he loved her and howling emanating. Theirs was a love affair for the ages. We should all be so fortunate and blessed to have such a great love in our lives. When the flame burned bright, theirs throughout all the years. On a personal note, to have such a great love in our lives, I want to thank all the friends and family who have reached out to us, especially of late. You wrapped us up in your love. I want to thank all friends and heartfelt sympathy who have reached out to us, and to those very special few, you know who you are. You wrapped us. I'm grateful for the loving kindness you share with Mom every day, and will continue to do so as she begins to open the pieces of her strange new life without Elliott. Thank you. In the end, he did it his way. Dad had Parkinson's disease, which he kept quiet for about 5 years. He didn't have any visible signs like triggers. In the last year, the Parkinson's was starting to catch up with him. But due to the pandemic, no one saw it except Mom and Dad. He was doing well in the last year until a few weeks ago. After a series of minor falls, he recently had a significant fall that brought him to the hospital, a rehab, and then home. We have a great picture of Elliott from this past Thursday night, having just gotten home, and he was settled in, and then home. In the picture, he's sitting up in bed, wearing his favorite NCAA basketball t-shirt from Jake, and reading the sports section. The headline of the newspaper on the section actually said "Happy Return." That night I FaceTimed with him and we laughed about a running joke in the family about which girl he loved the most. He told me that we, Barbara, Rachel, Sarah, and Carolyn, were all #1 in his heart. He went to sleep his first night home and didn't wake up. He left us exactly the way he wanted to, peacefully. He went to sleep his first night home. Dad didn't want a big funeral or anyone to let Shiva, not even at all. Peacefully, because of the pandemic, he got his wish. Our family knows that so many people loved, adored, and admired him, and wish to honor him in some way. Please honor my dad, Elliott Goodfriend, by living life fully, loving fiercely, every day in some way, exactly like he did. Please honor my dad, Elliott Goodfriend, by living life fully, loving fiercely, every day in some way, exactly like he did. Please honor my dad, Elliott Goodfriend, by living life fully, loving fiercely, every day in some way, exactly like he did.
Thank you, Mary. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I understand there's an issue with the volume being a little fuzzy. We are also recording the service on a separate device, which will post to our website later on. There's an issue with the fuzziness and the volume is not clear up. We are also recording the service, so those who are watching, please be aware of that. We will be posting our service later. The fuzziness and the volume is not clear up. We are also recording the service, so those who are watching, please be aware of that. The second speaker I'd like to call up will be sorry. I'll be reading a message from Mike. The second speaker I'd like to call up will be sorry. I'll be reading a message from Mike.
Hello? Hello? Yes? Hello?
Second speaker I'd like to call up will be sorry.
My name is Sarah, and I'll be reading a message from my dad, Mark. Yes? Hello? Dear friend. friends and family, this past week we lost someone whom we all love very much, who provided us with so much in his lifetime. Dear friends and family, I considered Elliott a second father to me, and for as long as I knew him, we had a unique relationship. He always pushed me to be the best that I could be, personally and professionally. And to this day, when I am in a work situation, I can recall many of the things we passionately discussed and debated. I know many people listening to this right now feel exactly the same way. From getting phones that rang with orders coming out of them, to figuring out what and how to trade, his facility with numbers, how to find and keep clients, and keep them smiling no matter what. All of it. Elliott Goodfriend touched the lives of so many people over his personal and professional career. It always amazed me just how many consider him a mentor, critic, friend, and boss, all in one person. I think he truly loved everyone who ever worked for him, well, except one or two. And I think that just about everyone who worked with him, before him, loved him as well, especially when he was hard on them, because that's how he got the best of him. And I think that just about everything for drawing. And then you would realize that your success was his. And he basked in the glow of that success, in good times and in bad. And then you would realize he was amazing with my daughters and gave them so much love, attention, and affection. It was obvious to anyone who saw that they were the joy of his life. He was amazing with my daughters. From vacations to shore houses, he was beyond generous, and we are all thankful for the years that we got to spend together as a family. I loved going to play crowds with him, not because I would win a couple of bucks here and there, but because it was so damn interesting to watch him utterly take over the table. From tip boss to croupier, telling them who to pay how much across the whole table, no matter how many people were around him. He saw every single piece of action on that table, and it was incredible to see in action. And of course, we all know who he would blame if someone said it out. He saw every single piece of action on that table. Hadn't turned 21 in time to go to the casino. Okay, back to Mark's voice. There are hundreds of moments like this throughout our lives, and I can go on for more of the time, but they all added up to something that was special. Okay, back to Mark's voice. And to be remembered and cherished. Yes, he traded a ton. Ever noticed they were all winners? Well, I know he lost a couple of those. And yes, he loved his family and friends and wanted success. Always ever noticed they were all winners? Well, I know he lost some. He loved and yes, he admired his family and friends. Yes, he was a genius. Always loved your son. Well, I know he lost some. He loved next is a message from him. Read by love your son.
It's Carol again. My mom received an email from Lou Cohen, who wanted read. It's a message from Lou. It's Carol again. My mom. A few reminders about how I was able to have the life I have today with my special relationship with Al. Each of the following are most reminders about how I was able to have a great friend that I cherish. Special relationship. Start each day the best you can. Each of the following. It's okay for a man to get a manicure. Always, always tell the truth in life. Start each day as best you can. Each of the following. As my manager, always manicure. As my manager, always knowing you had my back. It's okay to eat 2 hot dogs every day from the street vendor with not so clean hands. As my manager, always knowing. It's okay to go to the racetrack every day, win or lose, mostly with not so clean hands. It's okay to be tough, along with loving each and every family member and friends at the same time, win or lose, especially grandchildren. It's okay to be tough, always show loyalty, loving each and every family member. Never say or write anything that after a few minutes you would like to have back. It's okay to be tough, always show. It's okay to say if the stock loses half its value, it's split. that after a few minutes you would like to have. How smart this man was to teach us to build relationships in business, not just clients. How important it was to come to work, so you can take care of your family. It's okay in your 90s to research undervalued stocks. It's okay to curse the day you turn 59 and a half, knowing you can start to take money from your IRA. And lastly, if you're going to invest in an annuity, it's very important to discuss it each and every day, for many years. And lastly, I guess that it's okay for me to say I'm going to miss you from the bottom of my heart. And rest in peace, and you leave us with an incredible legacy. I guess that we love you, Elliott. I'm going to miss from Lou from the bottom of my heart. And rest in peace, and you leave us with an incredible legacy. I guess that we love you, Elliott. I'm going to miss from Lou from the bottom of my heart. And rest in peace,
I'd like to read a poem that talks about remembering people. At the rising of the sun, and then it's going down. We'll remember. At the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter. At the rising of the sun, and then it's going down. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we'll remember a dear father. The blowing of the wind and the chill, the blueness of the skies and the birth of summer, we'll remember. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we'll remember. The blueness of the skies and the birth of summer. As long as we live, he too will remember. He is now a part of us as we remember. When we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joys we crave to share, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, when we are weary and have achievements that are based on loss and sick at heart, we will remember. When we have joys we crave as long as we live, when we have decisions that are difficult to make, for he is now and achievements that are based on as today and always. As long as we live, when we have decisions that are going to ask for he is now and Sarah to come up. As today and always. I'm sorry. Going to ask for he is now and Sarah to come up.
Hello, this is super weird, and I wrote something, but I just wanted to say first that I really appreciate all of my amazing cousins and friends and everyone that's reached out, and I love you and miss you all, but I just wanted to say first, I really appreciate all of my amazing cousins and friends and everyone that's reached out, and I love you and miss you all, but I just wanted to say first, I really appreciate.
I met Elliott, known to me as Grandy, on May 24th, 1996. It was a big day for both of us, because I started existing, and he met his first grandchild, but not before he waited to get his lunch from the restaurant down the street. It was a big day for both of us. In a lot of ways, we know he was really stubborn, his way or the highway kind of guy, and a guy that makes sure he takes a certain set of directions when driving, in a lot of ways, or has an intricate parking plan at a rental house at the shore, as my mom did have at night. And a guy that makes sure but through all of that, he would go to the moon and back again for us. When we were little, he would sit on his shoulders and use his comb to make his hair go in all different directions. And he let us picture a flock of seagulls' hair. It was great. When I turned 21, we went to the casino to gamble a solid chunk of his money away. And since I still don't quite understand how craps works, for decades he spent days at the racetrack, and I knew him talking how to Uber there. For the decades that we were around, if a horse's name had Rachel Lysaria in it, he'd bet on that horse, and of course he'd always lose. And when I ran as part of the very dysfunctional 4x400 race at Henry Lace, he made sure to be front row and buy a t-shirt. He'd bet on that horse. And the love I always felt for him was so strong. After I started working, he'd call me up and ask if I was the CEO yet. And when I said not quite yet, he said, someday. And then I asked me, love you, Rach. So strong. After I started working, I'm just going to think of him every day. CEO yet. And when I said, that's all I got, because I'm not good at someday. Thank you. And then I asked me, love you, Rach. So strong. After I started working, I'm just going to think of him every day. CEO yet. And when I said, that's all I got, because I'm not good at someday. Thank you. And then I asked me, love you, Rach.
And I would like to call up Ryan. Are you ready to take Carol?
Okay, everybody. I have a tribute to Dad from Jeff. Jeff and I have been in touch of late, and it's been really nice to connect with him. Okay, everybody. I have a tribute to Dad. Jeff and I have been in touch of late. I've always been amazed by people who can, on very short notice, write and deliver incredibly moving messages honoring the people closest to them upon their passing. It's been less than 48 hours since Dad left us, and trying to work out what to say has seemed impossible. Fortunately, Dad lived a long, happy life, and thanks to Barbara, he died at home and in his sleep, which is what he wanted. Even though we had all known that the end was near for a while, and even though Dad had been preparing me for his death since 1966, not kidding, and we all know, it was always impossible for me to imagine what I would want to say at this moment in time, but I'll do my best. Not kidding. My father was an amazing man who will never be forgotten. It was always impossible to imagine. In his 93 years, he made such a huge difference in so many people's lives. Not kidding. My father was an amazing man. He always continued to grow as a person. It was always impossible. And while he could be cantankerous, his ability to love and give of himself to our family, friends, and his colleagues was continuing to grow as a person. When I try to think of the stories and the memories he tells, I'm literally swamped with wonderful and happy remembrances that seem too long to share at this moment. But I know that those and many more stories will be told over and over through the years with family and friends. After Dad's fall, when he was hospitalized and not doing well, I had a dream that he was saying goodbye to me at the airport, just like he had so many times over so many decades. We hugged and I started to leave, but he didn't let me go, and he said, "No, pal, this time I'll be different." And I knew what he meant. Suddenly the dream seemed very real, and we hugged each other for a long time, and it seemed so real. I could feel his warmth. He told me he'd be okay, and I'd be okay, and to look after Barbara. That's who my father was. It wasn't just me. He always bent over backwards to make people feel safe, and I will miss him dearly. Fortunately, Dad recovered for a short time, and we had several more conversations. The last was earlier this week when he was threatening to sue the facility where he was staying because they wouldn't bring him water. He said we loved each other, and the last thing I'll ever hear from him was him yelling at the staff as he hung up the phone, which is okay. Moving forward, there's no way my father could have been. He said we loved each other, and the last thing without Barbara in his life was him yelling at us. Over more than 50 years, she has been there with him through thick and thin, better or worse. I'm so grateful for the life he gave him there, and I'm so sorry I can't be there right with him today. I was wondering yesterday after I got the news about Dad's passing, where would he really go after he died, if anywhere? It's an old question, but I suddenly got this humorous vision of Dad checking into heaven would look like, and it would go like this. Dad gets to heaven and checks in. He has a beautiful suite with gardens and fountains everywhere. After he unpacks, he goes down to the lobby and he asks, "Where's the casino?" Dad gets to heaven. They say, "Mr. Goodfriend, there is no casino because there is no gambling in heaven. It's a vice." Dad says, "Well, okay, but there must be a racetrack, but that's not really gambling." They say, "I'm sorry, Elliott, but we consider betting on horses gambling too." Dad says, "Well, okay, but there must be get you a nice glass of chilled lemon juice instead, and you can sit in the garden and look at beautiful waterfalls." Dad rolls his eyes as only he can and says, "You gotta be kidding me. You think that's what I'll do for eternity, drinking tomato juice and look at fountains? And you call this heaven? Get God down here now. I want to speak to your boss." God shows up and says, "Welcome to heaven, Elliott. What can I do for you?" Dad says, "I'm going to sue this place for false advertising, and I know the best attorney up here to represent me. Where's my friend, Harvey Mitten?" God says, "Harvey's a good man and a great attorney too, but he checked out of here years ago." Dad says, "What do you mean? Where did he go?" God says, "He's down at the track with Harold, Stanley, and Nate."
When he checked out of here years ago, in closing, it gives me great comfort. You feel that no matter where Dad has gone, he's down at the track right here now with so many wonderful people we lost through the years. Mom and Pop, Harold is there, Harvey Nichols, Stanley Rags, Jerry Burstein, Bill Flack, and Lynn are there. To everyone in my family, Barbara, Carol, Sarah, Rachel, Aunt Ronnie, and all my cousins, I look forward to our next holiday dinner together again, when we can all be together and laugh. To everyone in my family, to my father, Carol, Sarah, Rachel, you have always been and you will always be the greatest man in my life, and life will never be the same without you. To my father, I love you. Love, Jeff. You have always been and you will always be the greatest man in my life, and life will never be the same without you. I love you. Love, Jeff. You have always been and will always be the greatest man in my life, and life will never be the same without you. I love you. Love, Jeff.
Thank you everyone for sharing those incredible stories. We have one more story to share. Sorry, please come up and share. Thank you everyone for sharing those incredible stories. We have one more story to share. Sorry, please come up and share. Thank you everyone for sharing those incredible stories. We have one more story to share.
For those first few hours, there is a stillness to the air. My hands are not my hands, but they move about the kitchen, idly cleaning anything they can find. For those first few hours, otherwise my thumbs twiddle and thoughts enter my mind. In New Orleans, I am rubber. Any heaviness bounces off as quickly as it comes. Up here where it's colder, I become porcelain, much smoother around the edges, but I fall to pieces. I feel older. Whereas in the South, I am a child. The difference is I do not cry as much as I used to. Holding the sweet as an exception. Elliott did not like when I cried at the beach house. He would look up from the sports section and rasp, "Sarah, I'm crying at the beach house." I'm convinced he did not like the second syllable of my name. He never said it, didn't need to. There was at once the potential for endearment and sincerity in first. The only time he needed the latter of those is when I signed my name on his car with a rock on the age before. I'm convinced he is betting on race horses right now and asking someone else to do it on Friday. Someone much younger than me. What in the hell is a GameStop? When I think of him, I think of mobility, of grace, of stern patience. I think of sandy kisses, punchlines with pointed fingers. I think of the man who did not bother. I think of correcting my cut after 100 times because I was going to do it how I wanted to anyway, which means that he saw punchlines with pointed fingers because he was going to do whatever it was the way he wanted anyway, right until the end. And for as long as I can remember, Rachel and I called him Randy. That's Grand E, as in the grandest of all Elliots, maybe even the grandest of all men. Many things about him were superlative. It was spectacular. Grand E, as in the grandest. The past 2 years, my relatives have pestered me about my voicemail box being full. They do not know I never once emptied it because in it were voicemails starting in 2014 from Elliott, Barbara, and my maternal grandparents, Linda and Joe. For years, I cherished them and listened to them every now and then. A couple weeks ago, my phone would not turn on, and I had to get it wiped in order for it to start working again. Those voicemails are now gone, but I have some of our names memorized by heart. It's the bittersweet love of having just a small bit of something precious, but not forgetting what we lost. And we're so lucky to know such love, care, intersection. The luckiness of going into training for the war, but not going into combat for it. Having to toss the souvenir in the trash to get your bag and 50 pounds that had walked centuries-old cobblestone streets somewhere in Europe and a stamp in your passport to prove it. He was having to toss the souvenir in the trash. Lucky a lady in Matt's mama who through him shows me what love is, who has a visibly bottomless gratitude, a social and positive attitude that makes me want to get married. Lucky a lady in Matt's mama, and he had the bittersweet luck of getting dealt a life so long that he began to see the whole picture as his imagination developed But just as the color seeps in, losing some sight, losing hearing, in the luck of life, planned paths are veering. And when I fall apart, I remind myself just as what is grief if not love, some sight, losing hearing, in the luck of life, planned paths are veering. And when I fall apart, I remind myself just as what is grief if not love, some sight, losing hearing, in the luck of life, planned paths are veering.
Thank you, everyone, and for sharing your thoughts, stories from your heart. There's a poem written by David Harkin that talks about being grateful for a loved one's life. And he wrote your thoughts. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he is written by David Harkin. You can close your eyes and hope that he will come back for a loved one's life. Or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. You can shed tears that he is gone. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him. Or you can be full of the love that you all share. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday. Or you can be happy for tomorrow because you can't see him yesterday. Or you can be full of the love. You can remember him and only that he is gone. Or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. Or you can cry and choose to close your mind, be empty, and turn your back. You can remember him when he would like you to go. Smile, open your eyes, and let it live on love. And go and cry and choose to close your mind. And ask you, please, from the moment of silence, to remember him when he would like how Elliott touched a smile. Open your eyes, and let it live on love. And go and cry and choose to close your mind. And ask you, please, from the moment of silence, to remember him when he would like how Elliott touched a smile. We can all please rise to the memorial prayer. We can all please rise. Down while I am shocking Bagromi. Amazing Menuha Makona Tata Kante Kashina. The Ma'alo Kidushi Bukorim. The Zohar Harakia Maskini. Elian Densby. Anabah Harachamim, Yasireko, the Sinners, and the Hurkal Olamim, the Yitzror, Kakaim, and Bishmato, Adonai, Nahalato, the Anuak, the Shalom, Amish, Kayo, the Sinners, and the Hurkal Olamim, the Yitzror, O God, for we have Bishmato, God who dwells on high, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence, among the holy and pure, to a beloved husband, O God, Father, brother, God, Father, and God. Elliott Goodfriend, peace, one in his eternal presence. Master of mercy, we beseech you. Remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living, and make his soul be lined up in the bond of eternal life. Be thou his possession. Master of mercy, we beseech you, and may he always remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living, and make his soul be lined up in the bond of eternal life. May we see you. Without his possession. Always. Remember all the worthy and righteous deeds. The memorial service will continue at Crescent Memorial Park. We will be going in a procession in just a few moments. I'll ask them to all please rise as we come in to take the casket. Memorial service will continue at Crescent Memorial Park. We will be going in a procession in just a few moments. I'll ask them to all please rise as we come in to take the casket. Memorial service will continue at Crescent Memorial Park. Beautiful. I'll ask them to all please rise. We can all please follow behind. We can all please follow behind.
Thanks, John. Thank you. That's it. I see what it says there. I'm doing the best. Thanks, John.